Then we see Mr. L sitting at his desk in his home writing something in his notebook. Suddenly he gets interrupted by his roommate who asks him if she interrupted him and notices that he is in a good mood. She then quickly becomes startled by the fact that she is attracted to him even though he's not her type. She quickly heads back into her room and advises him to take a rest. The scene then cuts to Mr. L sitting on a bench looking for somebody to buy time from. He observes a student chatting with his girlfriend on the phone and decides to follow him into a fast food restaurant. Mr. L slams the briefcase he was carrying and stops time. He offers the student 300,000 yuan in exchange for a year of his life. Although hesitant at first, the student eventually accepts the deal and signs the contract, giving Mr. L 1 year of his lifespan. Before leaving, Mr. L leaves his contact information in case the student wants to sell more time. While searching for somebody else to sell time to, Mr. L discovers that the patriarch of the Rong family is terminally ill. The scene then cuts to the Rong family estate where Mr. Rong wishes he had 1 more year. He looks around and sees Mr. L who offers to sell a year of lifespan to him. With only 5 minutes left to live, Mr. Rong quickly decides to buy 1 more year of lifespan in exchange for 5% of their income that year. Using all of his force and willpower, Mr. Rong signs the contract with only 1 second left, and Mr. L declares the transaction complete. Mr. Rong declares that even though he's still old, he is full of energy. Mr. L congratulates him and leaves his bank account details behind. Mr. Rong then orders everybody in the room not to say a word about what happened. He declares that Mr. L is not a person to be trifled with and tells his nephews not to make an enemy of him and send him the money. After that, we see Mr. L on top of a rooftop declaring that his choice to become a time vendor was the correct one. He observes that if his number of customers increase, he will ironically not have enough time to sell. He then decides to start a club called the Eternal Club, in which its members are divided into 9 ranks. The higher your rank, the more time you would be able to redeem. To do such thing, he will need competent and talented individuals to help him manage his club. He declares that he will become the biggest decision maker of this club. While thinking how he will make the club, he is offered a ride by a taxi driver. Mr. L happily accepts the ride and enters the back seat. He then overhears that something bad happened to the taxi driver. The taxi driver offers him to transfer him to another driver, but Mr. L tells him that he also has business at the hospital and tells him to take him with him, telling him that he is going to pay for the road fee. Upon reaching the hospital, the taxi driver observes that Mr. L had disappeared and he had left 2 stacks of cash on the seat. Mr. L then looks at the sickly looking man and observes that he dropped a medical report and declares it interesting. The scene then cuts back to Mr. L's home, where he observes his roommate sleeping on the couch. She tries to cover her with a blanket but accidentally wakes her up. She then thanks him and heads back into her room. The next day, his roommate asks him if he doesn't have work that day. Mr. L says that he took sick leave. After she leaves, he declares that he doesn't need to work anymore. At her workplace, she sees Mr. L and asks if he's there to buy a house. She shows him the most affordable apartments, but he asks for the offers for the mansions instead. After she gets tired of him, she tells her co-worker to take over. Mr. L then buys the most expensive villa they have. His roommate is very surprised and he says that he is going to buy the house in full right there.